In this session, we will discuss about the division of polynomials. In the algebra, when we are going to discuss about the algebra, uh, the main concept of the algebra, we are discussing about the polynomials. If you suppose that we are having a polynomial which is denoted as fx, then it can be divided by another polynomial gx. Therefore, suppose that if you are having polynomials in this way, suppose that if you are having the polynomial fx and you may have another polynomial which is called as gx, then we can divide these two polynomials. Fx can be divided by gx. If this condition is satisfying, then we are saying that we can have them for the division if the degree of fx is greater than or equal to the degree of gx. It is quite like if you need to divide the polynomials, if you need to divide fx by gx, or else we can use the long division technique. If you use this notation fx divided by gx, then this can be done if we are having the degree of fx greater than or equal to the degree of gx. If I just mention about degree of a polynomial here, if fx is given as 2x plus 1, the highest power that we can see for x is 1, then the degree of this is equal to 1. Suppose that if you are having x is in a way that if it is 3x squared plus 5x plus 2, then we can see the highest order term is this x squared term, then the highest power that you can see is 2, therefore the degree of this polynomial would be 2. In the similar way, suppose that if it is fx, suppose that it is in a way that x plus 2 minus x squared minus 5x cube. Here, even though it is plus or minus, we are not going to worry about the sign of the coefficient. Here, what we are going to think is the degree of the polynomial. It is the highest order term or the highest power that you can see in the polynomial. Here we can see the highest power in this polynomial is 3. Therefore, we can consider this is a third order polynomial. Then, if the degree of fx is greater than or equal to gx, then we are saying that we can have the division of those two polynomials. Then, if you are dividing this polynomial fx by polynomial gx, then we are naming these terms fx. We are naming fx is supposed to be the dividend. X is supposed to be the dividend and gx is supposed to be the divisor. Gx would be divisor and fx would be the dividend. Therefore, if you write it in a fraction, a way of fraction, then the numerator would be the dividend and the denominator would be the divisor. Then if you are dividing the polynomials, then once we are dividing the polynomials, again we are getting another polynomial. If I write it here, it would be quite in this form. Suppose that if you are dividing polynomial fx by polynomial gx. Once you are dividing any two given polynomials, again you must get another polynomial. We will let it as px, and then we will have a remainder which we are naming as r, and r can be also named as again a polynomial. Therefore, this is named as the remainder. This would be the dividend. Then this would be said to be the divisor, and this is supposed to be the quotient. Then px would be the quotient and r would be the remainder. Even though we name them it as r, then actual notation would be rx. It would be again a polynomial. This remainder would be can be again a polynomial as well, can be considered as a constant as well. According to the situation, we are getting the remainder as a constant or just with the constant term, or else it will be again a polynomial in the way of Rx. Then in generally, If you see about the degrees of fx and gx, then the quotient and the utmost degree for the remainder can be categorized, considered as this way. Suppose that if we are having the degree of fx, it is quite as the degree of the dividend. hmm, We have named the dividend or denote the dividend as fx. Then if the degree of fx is named as n and the degree of gx is named as m, then the degree of the quotient would be equal to n minus m. When we are discussing about the rules associated with powers, what we know is if you are just taking as x to the power m divided by x to the power n, then according to the rule that we are used for powers, then we are getting this as m minus n. Then this concept will be again used for the division of the polynomial as well, even though we have considered them as terms. Now these terms would be again the terms of the polynomial as well. Therefore, the concept that we are used under the powers can be again applied for the polynomials as well. Then if you are having fx, suppose that if you are having your dividend having the degree n, and if you are dividing this fx by the divisor having the order or the degree m, then your quotient would be having the degree having n minus m. Using this concept, if fx is divided by gx having the orders as n and m, then quotient would be having the order as n minus m. And if you consider about the remainder, then remainder would be how at most, we are considering this as the utmost degree that we can have for the remainder should be m minus 1. Otherwise, if our remainder is having the degree m, suppose that if you are having if you are dividing this x to the power 4 plus 2x plus 3, then we'll get this as if you are dividing it as x squared plus 2, then suppose that you will get a term having x squared plus something like that. Then your remainder cannot be exceed or equal to the degree of the leading term of the divisor. It is because suppose that if you are getting x squared here, again this x squared can be divided by the x squared in the divisor. Therefore, the utmost degree that we can have for the remainder would be 1 less than the degree of the divisor. Here we are having x squared, therefore this can have with the term x, or else it should be x to the power 0. Therefore, that is why we are saying the utmost degree that we can see here would be m minus 1. It is not saying that it should be exactly equal to m minus 1. The utmost value it can be have as m minus 1, but it can be have a value which is lesser than that. Right. Another example, if I take about this x to the power plus 5, then plus some other terms, then divide by x to the power 3. Then here we will get our quotient as px, and the utmost power that we can see in the remainder would be x to the power 2. If we are having x to the power 2, then we are not going to divide it by x to the power 3. That is kept as the remainder. Then we can have, it can be x to the power 2, or else it can be have as x to the power 1 itself. We have take it as x, or else x to the power 0, which leads to a constant. Therefore, the maximum degree that we can see in the remainder would be 1 lesser than the degree of the divisor. Okay, now we will move for the long division technique. Here, this session I will discuss about long division technique as well as the synthetic division technique. Uh, Prior to discuss about these two examples, first I will say the way of performing the long division. Here first what we need to do is we have to arrange the terms in dividend as well as in the divisor according to the descending order of the power. Here, this is the first thing that we need to do. We have to rearrange the terms in the dividend as well as in the divisor according to the descending order of the power. Therefore, the term with the highest power comes first in the dividend as well as in the divisor. But sometimes you may see that some terms would be there may be some missing orders. It is quite as suppose that in this example we can see that x to the power 4 is there, then the next term is x to the power 2. There is no any term called x to the power 3. It is now this is a missing term. Therefore, if you can find out missing terms in the dividend, we are not worried about any missing terms in the divisor. We have to pay our attention regarding the missing order terms in the dividend. Then what we have to do is we have to set the coefficients of such terms as 0, and we have to continue the calculation. I will explain this concept when we are discussing about this second example. First, I will take the example number 1 under the long division technique. Here it is given as we are asked to divide the 2x to the power 3 minus 5x squared plus 4x plus 7 by 2x minus 1. Okay, apart from taking in the given order, I will just have this as, suppose that this is this is the example you have given. Apart from having this as my example, I will take it as it is given as suppose that if it is given as 4x plus 2x to the power 3 minus 5x squared plus 7 divided by 2x minus 1. Suppose that this is the example that we are going to consider. It is example number 1. It is 4x plus 2x to the power 3 minus 5x squared plus 7 divided by x minus 2. X minus 2. Now, this is what we are going to do is we are going to divide this quantity by x minus 2. Then this would be the quantity that we are considering as the divisor or named as gx, and this would be the dividend that we are considering. As the first thing what we have to do is we have to rearrange the terms in the descending order of the powers. Now we can see if we are taking the fx, the first we have to rearrange the terms. Then we can see the first term is the highest order term that we can see is 2x to the power 3. Then this would be 2x to the power 3. Then next highest order term is x squared, it is 5x squared. Then next one is it is 4 times x, then plus 7. It would be fx, and thereafter we can take the divisor. Here we can see it is in the descending order of the powers. It is x minus 2. Here we can see this is the power 1 and x to the power 0. That is why we are getting this value as 1. 2 times 1 gives the value as 2. Therefore, we can keep this as x minus 2. Then instead of taking this as 2, it can be written as 2 times x to the power 0, where x to the power 0 can be taken as value 1. Therefore, gx can be written as x minus 2. Then what we can do is we have to divide the fx by gx. If we write down the division accordingly, then we will get this as fx divided by gx. What we need to do is we need to find a solution for fx divided by gx. Then what we can written this as 2x to the power 3 minus 5x squared plus 4x plus 7, and it has to be divided by the leading term is x, then minus 2. Now what we are going to do is when we are dividing the dividend by the divisor, always we are taking always we are dividing the dividend by the highest order term in the divisor. Here we can see the highest order term is x. Therefore, first we will divide this 2x to the power 3. I am not going to take any other terms. I will first take the highest order term, it is 2x cube, then it is divided by x, then we will get it as 2x squared, then 2x squared times x minus 2. Now initially we are dividing the highest order term by the highest order term of the divisor, then we will get it as 2x squared. Then this quantity has to be multiplied with the entire divisor. Then we can get this as 2x to the power 3, then 2x squared minus 2 into minus 2, then altogether we will get it as 4x squared. Now what we have to do is we have to subtract this quantity. We have to subtract 2x to the power 3 minus 4x squared from 2x cubed minus 5x squared plus 4x plus 7. Then if you perform the subtraction, then we will get this term would be cancelled out. Then minus 5x minus 4x squared, the remaining would be minus x squared, and we can take out or take down all the other terms. Then here we will get this as 4x plus 7. All the remaining terms are taken down. Now what we have to do is the highest order term is x squared, then we have to divide the x squared by again x. Here it is not the x squared only, it is minus x squared. Then minus x squared has to be divided by x. Here we will get it as minus x. Then minus x multiplied with x minus 2. Then we will get it as minus x squared. Minus x into minus 2, it is plus 2x. Again, subtract the laterally mentioned quantity by the initial one. Here it is minus x squared can cancel out. Then 4x minus 2x, it would be again 2x. Then 7 can be directly taken down. Now we are not going to worry about this initial one. It is because we have taken down all the remaining terms to the second stage. Then we can see the remaining term would be 2x plus 7. Still we can divide the highest order term in this remainder by the x minus 2. Therefore this would cannot be considered as actually a remainder. As a remainder, it is because still we are eligible to divide the quantity that we have considered as remainder by the divisor. Therefore we have to continue the calculation. We cannot terminate it. Then 2x plus 7 divided by x, it is 2x divided by x, then it would be 2. Then we can take it as 2 times x, then 2 times minus 2, altogether minus 4. Then we will get 2x minus 2x, it would be 0. 7 minus minus 4, it would be 7 plus 4 equals to 11. Now what we have to do is we have to consider the quotient. Quotient can be considered as 2x squared minus x plus 2, and remainder can be considered as 11. Now you can see that for the divisor we had x minus 2 having the degree as 1. It is because the power is 1, and the utmost power or utmost degree of the remainder would be 0th power, x to the power 0. Now we can see that we got a constant term only here. We got the remainder as 11. Therefore this would be the final answer that we are getting for this division. Now if we consider about the second part, it is the second part is we are asked to divide 2x to the power 4 minus 5x squared plus 7 by x squared minus 2x plus 1. Here if we take down the things mentioned, we are asked to divide 2x to the power 4 minus 5x squared minus 5x squared plus 7 divided by x squared plus x squared minus 2x plus 1 minus 2x plus 1. This is what we need to do, divide. First what we have to do is we have to rearrange the terms in the dividend as well as in the divisor. Then we can name dividend, it is fx. Now we can see the highest order term is x to the power 4. It comes first, and the next term is x squared term. But you can see that from the power 4, it has directly reduced to the power 2. Then there is a missing term as x to the power 3. Then we can consider it as 0 times x to the power 3. We have to mention it as well. This is if I use another color, we can take Okay, first we'll keep it as a space and I will continue. Then the next term is there should be a missing term. There is a missing term. Then next term is it is 5x squared minus 5x squared, and again there is no any x term. We'll keep it as a blank. Then next term is plus 7. Now we have to have the include the missing terms as well. Then we can include the missing terms. Then this can be considered as plus 0 times x to the power 3 plus 0 times 6. Now we have include the missing terms as well. Then we are not going to include any missing terms in the divisor. The only rearrangement that we are making for divisor is rearrange the term in the descending order of the power. But it is already arranged in the descending order of power, x squared minus 2x plus 1. Then we need to have the fx division of fx with g. If you are dividing, then we'll get it as 2x to the power 4. We cannot omit these terms, it has to be written minus 5x squared plus 0x plus 7, then divided by x squared minus 2x plus 1. Now what we have to do is we have to always consider the highest order terms. Then 2x to the power 4 divided by x squared. Then we will get this as 2x to the power 2. 2x to the power 4 divided by x squared. We will get it as 2x squared. Then multiply this entire divisor by 2x squared. Then we will get it as 2x to the power 4. Then minus 4x cubed, it is 2x squared multiplied with minus 2x, then plus 2x squared. This is what we are having. Now we have to subtract the laterally mentioned quantity from the initial one. Then 2x to the power 4 and 2x to the power 4 cancel out. Then 0x to the power 3 minus 4x to the power 3. Then we will get this as plus 4x to the power 3. 0 minus minus 4, it will give us as plus 4. Then minus 5x squared minus 2x squared. Altogether we are getting it as 7x squared. Now we have to take all the remaining terms down. It is 0 times x plus 7. Now the highest order term in this stage is 4 times x to the power 3. Then it has to be divided by x squared. Then we'll get it as 4x. 4x multiplied with the divisor. Altogether we are getting it as 4x cubed minus 8x squared plus 4x, then divided by what we have to do is we have to subtract this latter mentioned quantity from this initial quantity. Then 4x cube, and here this would become minus 4x cube, this will become 0. Then minus 7x squared minus 8 squared x squared, then we'll get x squared here. Then 0x minus 4x, it would be minus 4x, and 7 has to be directly taken down. Now we can see the highest order term here is x squared, and the highest order term in the divisor is also x squared. Then we can still perform the calculation. Then x squared divided by x squared, we'll get it as 1. Then 1 into the quantity in the divisor, it is x squared minus 2x plus 1. If you subtract the quantities, then the remaining would be minus 2x plus 6. Now we can consider the quotient. We can write down the answer. The quotient we are getting, it is 2x squared plus 4x plus 1, and the remainder we are having, it is minus 2x plus 6. This is the quotient and remainder. we are having for this division. The thing what we have to do is, first we have to rearrange the terms in the descending order of power, and if there is any missing order of terms, then we have to replace them with the zero coefficients and continue the division. And this is how we are performing the long division technique, and now we will move for the synthetic division technique. We can apply this synthetic division technique if we are having the divisor in the form of x minus a. If you can see our divisor which is in the x form of x minus a, quite it is, we are saying as the it is a linear function. If it is a linear function, the form of the linear function, if our divisor is in the form of linear function, we can apply this synthetic division. And this method is actually shortening of this long division technique, but it is limited since we can consider the divisor which are in the linear forms only. And this long division is shortened, then this method is named as the synthetic division. Here we are not going to write any the x terms or any variables in the division technique. Here, apart from writing these variables, we will just take in the coefficients only. Therefore, for the division, if you are using the synthetic division, in the synthetic division technique, we are using only the numerical coefficients in the polynomials that we are having. And the next important thing is we have to keep we can apply the synthetic division technique if the divisor is in the form of x minus a, quite the linear form only. Here also what we have to pay our attention is that the two conditions which I have mentioned in long division is valid for the synthetic division as well. Here first we have to rearrange the terms in the descending order of the power, and if there is any missing term included, then uh, we cannot omit them. We have to include them having the coefficient of that term as zeros. Therefore, if you consider about this synthetic division for the first one, here we are asked to divide this 2x cubed minus 5x squared plus 7x plus 3, and it has to be divided by x minus 2. Then what we are doing here is, apart from taking all these terms, first we will take this, write down the coefficients only. Therefore, as an example, if I write it down, the synthetic division, here we are considering the synthetic division. In the synthetic division, what we are considering, in this example, we will take 2x cubed minus 5x squared plus 7x plus 3 divided by x minus 2. Here we can see our divisor is in the form of x minus a. If you are having x plus 2, suppose that if you had x plus 2, we can say this is also in the form of x minus a. It is quite as x minus minus 2. If it is given as x plus 2, again we can rearrange it in the form of x minus a, x minus, now a is equal to minus 2. Okay, now what we can do is, here first we have to apply the technique that we have, or the conditions that we have discussed under long division technique, rearrange the terms in the descending order of the power, and if there is any missing orders, rewrite the term including the coefficient as 0. Now if you see about the dividend, it is power 3, power 2, power 1 and power 0. All the there is no any missing orders, and it is arranged in the descending order as well. Then we are getting it as the coefficients. We can take them as 2. First we are writing down the coefficients. It is 2. Then next one is minus 5. Next one is 7. And finally we are getting it as 3. Thereafter, what we have to do is we are separating this to write down the divisor. In the divisor, what we are taking is we have to always equate this divisor to 0 and find out what is the value of x. Here we are setting x minus 2 equals 0 and we'll take the value of x equals to 2. Then the value of x is written here. Always we are equating the divisor to 0 and find out the value that x can be taken. Then that value is written here. And now there we have to keep one rule space to write down or to have the solution. First, what we are doing is here we are taking this initial term is directly write down. It is 2. Then what we are doing is multiply this 2 with 2. Then it is equal to 4. 2 times 2, we have directly write down this 2 here. Then 2 multiplied with 2 becomes 4. Then add minus 5 and 4. Minus 5 plus 4 we are getting as minus 1. Then this minus 1. Then minus 1 multiplied with this 2 we'll get minus 2 here. Then 7 plus minus 2 we'll get 5. 5 times 2 is 10 here. 3 plus 10 is 30. Now we have finished the division and we need to identify what are the divisors and what is the remainder and what is the quotient. To find out them, we'll start writing the orders of x as x to the power 0, x to the power 1, x to the power 2. Here always this is given as the remainder we are having, and quotient is written as x to the power 0, x to the power 1 and x to the power 2. Always we are getting constant as the remainder. It is because in the synthetic division always our divisor would be a linear function. Therefore always we are getting a constant for the remainder. Then we can consider the last term as the remainder. And now we can find out the quotient here. The quotient can be considered as it is 2 times x squared, then it is 2x squared, minus 1 times x, then it would be minus 6. 5 times x to the power 0, x to the power 0 in the sense equal to 1. 5 times 1 is plus 5. Then we'll get the remainder. Remainder is equal to 13. Therefore, this is the answer that we are taking for the synthetic division. Therefore, if you are taking compared to the long division, this would be much easier since we are just using the coefficients only. But the limitation of synthetic division would be it can be used if we are having the divisor in the form of a linear function. If I take another example under this synthetic division, the second example, if we take here, we are asked to divide 2x cube minus 3x squared. We are asked to divide 2x cube minus 3x squared minus 6x plus 4 by 2x plus 1. If we write it here, we are getting 2x cube minus 3x squared minus 6x plus 4, and we have to divide it by 2x plus 1. Here it is, if you see about the divisor, it is not the exactly form of x minus a. Here we are considering this as x minus a. It is because we are taking the value of a for the division. Then instead of considering it as x minus a, if you need, we can have this as x minus a by equating to 0. Then we can convert. Then rather than considering that, what we can do is we can consider this 2x plus 1 equals 0, whereas we are getting value of x equals to minus half. Therefore, if you need, we can consider this would be equal to 2 times x minus half. This would be again in the form of x minus a. Therefore, we do not worry about this concept. The only thing we are considering is we must have a linear function in as the divisor, and first we need to equate our function or the polynomial to 0, linear polynomial to 0, and then we have to find out the value of x. Accordingly, we got the value of x equals to minus half. Now, the next important thing is here we have to uh, if you are having this value of x apart from 0 a value, here we have the value as this minus half. Since we are having it is the multiplier of x is 2, then we have to consider the division of this device dividend by this multiplier. Here what we are doing is we are having fx in this way, but gx has the form of 2 times x plus 1. Then it is quite as if we write it here, it is we are getting it as, if you take this x minus a form, it is again x minus half. Then we can write it as it is 2 times x minus a. It is 2 times x minus a. Therefore, if you are writing the value of a here, but it is 2 times. Therefore, what we have to do is we have to divide this dividend by this coefficient. It is 2. Just simply we can consider the coefficient of x. Therefore, what if you are writing down the terms, it is 2 minus 3 minus 6 and plus 4, but we have to divide it by 2 since we are having the coefficient of x as 2. Then we are taking for the calculation, it is 1 minus 3 over 2 minus 3n plus 2. Here we are dividing this by 2. Then we'll use these values for the calculation, and value of a is taken as minus half. Then keep one rule space for the further calculations. Then we'll directly take 1 down. Then 1 times minus half is minus half. Then addition of these two gets the value as minus 2. Altogether minus 4 over 2. Then we'll get it as minus 2. Minus 2 times minus half, it would be plus 1. Minus 2 times minus half, plus 1. Minus 3 plus 1, it would given as minus 2. Minus 2 times again minus half, it is plus 1. 2 plus 1, we'll get it as 3. We can consider this, this would be considered as the remainder, but we have to make an alteration. Since we are dividing or entire by 2, we have to multiply this remainder by 2, since initially we have divided all these by 2. But here we'll take it as x naught, x1 and x squared only. Now we can take the quotient. For the quotient, it is no need to make any changes. Then we can take it as 1 times x squared minus 2 times x minus 2. But remainder, we need to make an adjustment. It is here we are getting 3, but initially we have divided the entire by 2. Therefore, we have to multiply this remainder by 2. Then we'll get the remainder as 6. Therefore, the quotient is x squared minus 2x minus 2 and remainder is equal to 6. Therefore, this is how we are applying the synthetic division technique. And now we will move for the finding out the division identity. when we are discussing about the division, we have find out this as well. If you are having here we had fx divided by gx. Here we got px, and as the remainder we got ro. We can say it as rx. Then in here what we can say is if we are dividing just this 7 by 2, what we are getting is it is 3. Then we'll get it as 6 and 1 here. Then the quantity 7 can be again made by 7 can be made by 2 multiplied with 3, 2 multiplied with 3, and at the dividend at the remainder that we are having. Therefore, considering of the division of the polynomials, we can apply this. Here we had what we are taking as the dividend. Then 2 is the divisor we had. Then 3 is the quotient we had, and this multiplication of divisor and quotient. Then we have to add the remainder. Here you'll get the remainder. Then this theory is valid for the polynomials as well. Then we can create the fx again by multiplying of gx by px plus rx, where rx is the remainder. Therefore, we can write this, we can say this as the division identity. Division identity can be considered as, here we had the dividend. This is equal to gx was the divisor we had, multiplied with px is the quotient, and rx is the remainder that we are having. Therefore, this is considered as the division identity. Now, using of this division identity, we can find out, we can identify two theorems, what we are saying as the remainder theorem and the factor theorem, factorization theorem. Then if you are having a polynomial fx which is divided by x minus a, then according to the remainder theorem, we are saying the remainder is equal to fa. Here we can prove it. Suppose that according to the division identity, we can prove it. Here what we are going to do is under the remainder theorem. Under the remainder theorem, if we are dividing fx by x minus a, here we are considering again a linear form for the remainder theorem. If fx divided by x minus a, suppose that we are getting our quotient as fx, sorry, it is px, and suppose we are getting our remainder as r. Then we can write it as, according to the division identity, fx can be written as dividend equals to divisor times quotient, it is px, plus the remainder r. Here we need to find out the remainder. It would be always a constant. It is because we are dividing, we are considering for the remainder theorem, divisor is in the form of x minus a, or in the linear form. Now if you substitute x equals a here, we can simply make this entire part as 0. Therefore, if you substitute x equals a, then we'll get fa here. Then instead of x, we can take a minus a times pa. Here we need, it is no need to evaluate the value of pa. It is because a minus a becomes 0. Then we are just writing it as a only. Then we can find out this quantity goes to 0, it is because a minus a times pa. Then since this is 0 times pa, then entirely it is goes to 0. Therefore we will get fa, it is what we are taking as the remainder. Therefore this is what we are taking as the remainder theorem. And we can say the remainder theorem as, if a polynomial fx divided by x minus a, then remainder is fa. Here what we can do is, we can directly use the remainder theorem to obtain the remainder without performing the division, just by substituting. If you convert your divisor in the form of x minus a, then the value of a substitute in the function, then we'll get the remainder. As an example, if we can consider about the remainder theorem using an as an using it here in this calculation. Here it is 2x to the power 3 minus 3x squared minus 5x plus 8. We are asked to find out the remainder. Find the remainder when this quantity is divided by x plus 2. Here we are asked to find out 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 5x plus 7 divided by x minus 2 x plus 2 minus 5x plus 8 minus 5x plus 8 divided by x plus 2. Here we are asked to find the remainder. What is the value of r? We need to find the value r. Then r can be considered as, according to the remainder theorem, we can say that r is equal to fa. Here, if you let this quantity as, okay, first I will write it here. Let fx be 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 5x plus 8, and here we are asked to divide it by x plus 2. X plus 2, in the sense we need to convert it into the form of what we are taking as x minus a. Then we can say it is x minus minus 2. X minus minus 2. Here what we need to do is, we need to find the value of a. If you need, you can use this concept, or else simply if you are equating the divisor to 0 and find out the value of x, then this would be equal to the value of a. Therefore this is the easiest way that we can follow up, but according to the theory we have to say x plus 2 equals to x minus minus 2. In both ways we are getting the same value. Therefore value of a, it is equal to minus 2. Therefore uh, therefore according to the remainder theorem, we will get the remainder is equal to fa. Now we have to substitute the value of a in the function fx. Value of a is minus 2, then it is 2 times minus 2 to the power 3 minus 3 times minus 2 to the power 2 minus 5 times x is again minus 2 plus 8. Then we'll get here 2 to the minus 2 to the power 3, it is minus 8. Minus 8 times 2, it is minus 16. Minus 8 times 2, minus 16. Then minus 2 to the power 2, it is plus 4. Plus 4 into minus 3, it is minus 12. Then minus 5 into minus 2, plus 10. And here it is plus 8. If you perform the calculation, we will get the remainder. It is minus 16 minus 12 plus 10 and plus 8. Altogether we are getting this value as minus 10. Therefore remainder is equal to minus 10. Without performing the division, we can find out the remainder using the remainder theorem. Then we will move for the note it is given. If the remainder is 0, suppose that this is an advancement of the remainder theorem. If you are having the remainder 0, then x minus a is said to be a factor of fx, and conversely, if x minus a is a factor of fx, then remainder is 0. Therefore, for any situation, if you are getting fa equals 0, if you are having fa equals 0, it means the remainder, if you're substituting value a in the function, and if you get it as 0, then we can say x minus a is a factor of fx. Or else, this is one way that we can comment, or else if x minus a is a factor of fx, then we'll get fa equals 0. Therefore, using this interpretation, we can define the factor theorem as well. Then we can define the factor theorem. X minus a is a factor of the polynomial fx if and only if fa equals to 0. Therefore, if and only if, in the sense, in the both way, it has to be true. It is just say if x minus a is a factor of fx, then fa equal to 0, or else in the in the other way around, if fa equals to 0, then we can say that x minus a is a factor of polynomial fx. Therefore, it is what I have written here. According to these two interpretation, if fa equals to 0, then x minus a is a factor of fx, or in the other way around, if x minus a is a factor of fx, then fa is equal to 0. Then we can apply it as well. Here we are asked to factorize this cubic equation. First, what we can do is we do not know what are the actual simply what are the actually factors of this. But only thing we can say is if it is a cubic expression or cubic polynomial, what we can consider is we may have we may have three factors. There should be three factors if it is a cubic. There may be repeating factors. It is not a problem, but anyhow, altogether, three factors should be there if the factors are existing. Then if you consider about this example, here it is given as find out the factors for x cubed minus 7x squared plus 7x plus 15. But what we know is if we are having a quadratic equation or the polynomial as the square terms, we know a way to find out the factors. But if it is a cubic polynomial, then it is quite hard to find out the factors. Therefore, using a trial and error method, first we need to find out one factor of this cubic polynomial. Then to find out the factor, we have to use a trial and error method combined with this factorization theorem. Therefore, if you write it as fx, here we need to factorize fx if it is given as x cubed minus 7x squared plus 7x plus 50. It is what is given, and we are asked to find out the factors of this polynomial. I told you that generally we are using the trial and error methods. Therefore, we are using we are substituting the arbitrary values and checking whether the remainder is 0 or not. If it is 0, then what we know is if we are getting fa equals 0, then we know that x minus a is a factor. Then we'll use this interpretation for this as well. Therefore, as an arbitrary value, I will say x equals 1, then we'll get f1. F1 will get, it is 1 to the power 3 minus 7 times 1 to the power 3 plus 7 times 1 plus 15. We'll get it as Here we'll get it is 1 minus 7 plus 7 plus 15. Altogether we are getting this as 16. It is not equal to 0. Therefore, if this cannot be considered as a factor, therefore we have to see for another arbitrary. Generally, we are fine substituting the values. It is we are substituting 1 minus 1, 2 minus 2. Maximally we will get the questions from 3 with minus 3. Otherwise we have to go for an alternative method. And generally if you need, we can substitute 0. As soon as we substitute 0, we can see that the 15 is the only quantity which is not having an x term. Therefore we are not going to generally substitute 0, but if you need, you can check it as well. Therefore I'll start from 1. It is we haven't got or we haven't got an answer which is in the form of fa equals 0. Then we'll substitute x equals minus 1. Then we'll get f minus 1. F minus 1 in the sense it is minus 1 to the power 3. Then minus 7 times minus 1 to the power 2 plus 7 times minus 1 plus 50. Now we need to find out minus 1 to the power 3. It is minus 1. Minus 1 to the power 2. Then it is plus 1 into minus 7. Altogether we are getting minus 7. 7 into minus 1. Again minus 7 plus 50. Now we can see this addition equal to 0. Now what we know is we have find out that f minus 1 is equal to 0. What we had was if a is equal to 0, then x minus a is a factor. Then we can write down x minus minus 1 is a factor. Therefore we can say x minus minus 1. Then we can say this is equal to x plus 1. X minus minus 1. Then it can considered as x plus 1 is a factor. Therefore this is what we have identified first. Now we can see that it is a cubic polynomial and we have already identified one factor. Then what we can do is we can find out the remaining part just by dividing this polynomial by the obtained factor. Here we can see it is a linear factor. Since it is a linear factor, we can use the concept of synthetic division. We can write down the coefficients of fx. Here we can see all the terms in the descending order. Then we can take the first coefficient is 1, next one is minus 7, then plus 7, and thereafter 50. Then we'll take this is one factor, x plus 1 equate to 0. Then we'll take value of x is minus 1. Then we can directly get down this 1 here. 1 times minus 1, addition of minus 7 with minus 1, altogether minus 8. Minus 8 times 1 plus 8 is 15. 15 into minus 1, it is minus 50. Now we can say this is the remainder is 0. Then we can find out, since the remainder is 0, it is quite now what we had done was fx was divided by x plus 1. There should be definitely we must get the remainder as 0 since it is a factor. Then we will take x naught, x1 and x square. Then we can say the remainder it is the quotient. It is if we take as px, the quotient we are having px is equal to x squared minus 8x plus 15. Now according to the division identity, we can write down this fx is equal to our factor was x plus 1 times px, it was x squared minus 8x plus 15, and there is no any remainder. Since this was a factor, then remainder was 0. Now we can easily find out the factors for this quadratic equation or the quadratic polynomial we are having. Here we will get x plus 1 and For the quadratic polynomial, we can have identify two factors since we are having x squared term. Then we can write down the addition, the multiplication should be 15 and addition should be minus 3, minus 8. Therefore, we can take it as minus 5 and minus 3. Therefore, these would be the factors for the cubic polynomial that we are having. Therefore, this is how we are applying the techniques that we have discussed so far to find out the factors for the polynomials. And here it is mentioned that in order to find the factors using the factor theorem, trial and error methods will have to be used. Therefore, using the trial and error method, the first factor should be identified. Thereafter, we can find out the remaining factors just by using the factorizing the quadratic polynomials. And this is all what I need to discuss under this session. And thank you all for your participation.